Hello YouTubers. As you may know from my previous videos, the United States is trying to stop China from being a superpower. I've also said that the increased sanctions with Iran and the crisis in Venezuela can be seen as proxy wars against China. If anyone doubts America's intentions for starting a third world war, well, know that China is certainly prepared for it. How could a war with China start? China obviously views the South China Sea as part of China, or at least under Chinese control. You can't really blame them, can you? After all, America views the Gulf of Mexico as under American control. The international community and even America recognizes the South China Sea as part of China's exclusive economic zone. So, what's the root of the conflict? If everyone agrees that the area is China's, then what's the problem? Simply put, the United States keeps military in the area for surveillance and other peaceful military activities. The United States claims that such actions are allowed under the United Nations Conventions on the Law of the Sea. This argument is a bit disingenuous because the United States refuses to sign the treaty and become a member of the convention. You can't expect to have privileges agreed to in the convention if you're not a member of the convention. China views the military action in the South China Sea as an attack on their sovereignty. I suspect they don't find the United States military being there entirely peaceful either. The United States views access to the South China Sea as part of its national interests. The United States uses the claim of freedom of navigation for its justification for military action in the area. In response, China issued a strict warning that it would not allow any country to violate China's territorial waters in the name of freedom of navigation. The United States has even tried to tell China what it can do off the coast of its water. Imagine if the United States decided to build some islands in the Gulf of Mexico, and some other country told America that you must halt building islands in the Gulf of Mexico. Oh, that's what the Secretary of Defense, Ash Carter, told China in 2015. A few months later, in November of 2015, two United States bombers flew near the artificial-built Chinese islands in the Spratly Islands area. Chinese ground controllers contacted them, but the United States military ignored them. This bullying approach has only increased during the current administration. So, during his confirmation hearing, former Secretary of State Rex Tillerson said that the United States should block access to man-made islands in the South China Sea. China responded by saying, unless Washington plans to wage a large-scale war in the South China Sea, any other approaches to prevent Chinese access to the islands will be foolish. And what has happened since then? Well, for one, the United States government started a major trade war with China in what China has described as the largest trade war in economic history. Also, it's important to note that in January of 2019, it was confirmed that China's top military priorities were to boost training and to prepare for war with America. This comes directly from the Chinese president. In short, China is currently building up its economy, and it's building up its military. It is exerting more regional influence. Right now, China is deploying stealth fighters to the South China Sea. And it is also developing long-range bombers that can carry nuclear weapons. These nuclear-capable bombers will make China one of only 3 nations to have the ability to use nuclear weapons on land, air, and sea. Simply put, the United States is trying to stop China from being a superpower. Many of the regional conflicts in the world can be seen through this lens. For example, America is meddling in Venezuela to contain China. The trade war was started as an effort to weaken China. To be fair to the military, they aren't even trying to hide their plan. They are essentially saying, we're going to put more advanced weapons in the area, and that's likely to lead to more escalation. As I said in a previous video, China isn't stupid. It knows that war is coming. And now, China thinks it can even beat America in a war if it were attacked. Whether they are wrong or right isn't relevant. Even if they can't beat America in a war now, their military power is increasing and they are continuing to experience economic growth. In the future, unless America changes its policy or contains China, there will be a major war. At this point, does anyone reasonably suspect that America will reasonably contain China? I think most agree that China is winning the trade war. Think about it. If the trade war was hurting China worse than America, there wouldn't be good faith talks right now to reduce tariffs. The United States clearly wants to contain China, and who would have thought that a trade war with them isn't a good solution to an already bad plan? Moreover, economists start predicting that America is going to go through a recession soon. Major wars can revive a country's economy, especially if it has good manufacturing, industrial, and communication infrastructure in place. These are scary times we're living in. I've been clear in my videos that I don't really care if I die or not, and that's exactly why you're going to get honest news from me. Please show your support by subscribing.